James here, and this is the 10th Java tutorial in my series. In this tutorial, we're going to go over while loops and for loops. And basically, they're the way of iterating over a sequence of items, or a sequence of things, such as numbers, or keeping a condition, or doing a condition until it is false. So the first one I'll go over is a while loop. So just as a precursor, I created a new string variable, called it input, and set it equal to nothing. Created a new scanner input and set it equal to the input of your console. And then created a new array list from the last tutorial, called it names, and made it a string array list. So just that's why I made here, to set up for this. And then we're going to do a while loop. So while a condition is true, do this. So this may look similar to an if statement, and it kind of is. The only difference between this and an if statement is a while loop will keep on executing as long as the condition is true, while an if statement will only execute once. So basically it'll keep on doing this loop until this condition is false, or we use the break keyword. And we'll go over the break keyword a little bit later. But let's go ahead and put some stuff inside of this. Make this actually relevant. And the condition we want to do is while the input is not equal to q. So basically while input dot equals q. And that has to be in double quotes because it's a string. So basically what we're saying here is while the input does not equal q, keep on executing whatever inside of this. And what we wanted to execute is input equals scan dot next. And I know there's better ways of doing this, but just for simplicity's sake, we're going to cheat. We're going to also double check here to see if the input's not equal to q. And if it's not, then we're going to add it to the array. So if input does not equal q, then add it to our names array. And basically that's how we add a bunch of names into the input, into the names array. Now you'll be thinking to yourself, how do we actually go back and print them out? So I'm going to introduce you to a new concept, the for loop. Let me go ahead and write this out. So variable condition post iteration operation. Now, this is going to look pretty complex, but I swear it is very simple once you get the hang of it. So basically, in a for loop is sort of like a while loop on steroids. It allows you to initialize a new variable inside of it, have a condition run until it's false, and then do an operation after every single iteration of the loop. So in this case, we're going to create a new variable, int I, and set it equal to 0. So I stands for index. And then while I is less than the amount of names in the array list, add 1 to I. Now this statement right here, I don't believe I went over with you, is the same thing as I equals I plus 1. So I'm going to put that back, plus I. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to say system dot out dot println names dot get I. And let me go ahead and run this and I'll explain it to you. So we keep on adding names in here. James, Jack, Will, Bill, Thrill. And then if we type in Q, watch, it printed them all back out to us. So basically, let me go ahead and explain all this to you. So, while a certain condition is true, execute any code inside of this. Then, for the variable I, while I is less than the size of the array, add 1 to I, and do this. So basically what it does here is it creates a new variable inside of this for loop and sets it equal to 0. While that variable is less than the size of the array, add 1 to I and do this. This will actually be the equivalent at, you can actually leave this off and put this at the end. And it'll have the same exact result. So if we type in James Hill will Bill Jane and then type in Q, you can see it prints out the same exact thing. The thing about this is the for loop already provides you for a mechanism to put it at the end of the loop. So all you have to do is just add it right there and you're done with it. You don't have to add it at the end of the loop. So basically all it is the for loop is like a while loop on steroids. And a while loop is an if statement they'll keep on executing as long as its condition is true. So if this condition is not true, then it won't ever execute. If this condition is true, then it will execute. And the condition is if the input is not equal to Q. So basically, when you're reading this off to yourself, you just have to read it as while the condition input dot equals Q is not true, do this. And then when you read the for loop off, it goes for the integer I equals 0, while I is less than names.size, add 1 to I, and then execute this statement. I should really be saying execute the statement, then add 1 to I. But when you're reading it off, you should just think to yourself that that actually happens at the end. This will actually always happen in the end of the loop. So basically, when you want to iterate over your sequence of items in your array, you use a for loop. When you want to add stuff to an array, you can use like a while loop. You can also use a for loop, and you can just say, all right, I don't want to create a variable. And then you can say something like, while input dot equals Q, and then delete that at the end. Then this becomes functionally equivalent to that while loop above. But then why do we have while loops? So, I mean, this just looks cleaner than doing this. Basically, what we're saying here is don't declare a variable, don't do anything after the loop, and just check this condition. So that's all that is. So basically, let me go ahead and fix it back to where it was before and explain one last time. A while loop is used to iterate several times while condition is true. And the condition in this case is while the input does not equal Q. A for loop is usually used to iterate over a list of items or to iterate through a series of numbers. And we can do something like while I is less than 10, and then simply just print out sys I, and it'll print out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Q, and you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, keep in mind, this condition, if it is not met, will not run this loop one last time. It'll immediately stop that loop where it's at its tracks. So basically, once this condition becomes false, it won't do anything inside of this. So that's why you don't see 10. If you wanted to see 10, you add less than or equal to 10. And then if we go back into this, Q, because we don't want to put any names, you can see it prints at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you want to start this off at 1, you just change 0 to 1. And then it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go ahead and run it for you guys. Q. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's pretty much while and for in a nutshell. Now I'll be using this a lot more as we go throughout the tutorials. And in the next tutorial, I'll be going over for each loops and show you what those are. And they're a little bit different and a little bit harder to grasp your head around. But you will use them when you're iterating over especially array lists. And you don't need to know the index of that array. So thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next tutorial.